Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on April 19th, 2017. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. Strategy number 1, individual numbers. Okay, so I put the individual numbers into groups, okay? So you're probably saying, well, if they're in groups, how can they be individual? But basically what it is the 61 just barely came up. And it tells me exactly where it came up before and what color it was. So that's how it's individual numbers for me. But I put them in the groups, and that way I could try to predict what group is not going to come up, so I can eliminate it off the game card. So again, I got 7 groups. There's only 5 winning Powerball numbers, so of course 2 groups cannot come up. So looking through things, okay, I'm on this 4th row right here out of 5, okay, so I've been going through these 40s, okay, and I noticed that there's been a hit in the 4th row for the last 8 of these groups of 5 here, okay, so I'm just predicting that there's not going to be a 9th hit up here, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate the 40s off of the game card. Okay, so here's the game card, and the game card represents all 69 numbers. Okay, so every time that there's a drawing, the colors get changed. I call it a color code. So over here, all this color red, all these numbers will be red numbers. As you can see, this 51 is in the red, so as I come over here, it's 51. It's a red number. Okay, and it goes all the way down through orange, green, blue, and purple. I have 5 colors to represent each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So the last winning number you can see was 5 blue. Okay, so as I go to the individual numbers again, you can see this 5, the last one is blue. Okay, so that kind of helps me determine what numbers I'm going to pick. Like over here in the 20s, you can see that this was all green, and the drawing before that was purple and blue, and purple, blue, and green, okay, and red and orange. So the next drawing, the next time that a 20 comes up, I'm going to predict that it's either going to be red or orange. So that's probably what I'm going to pick. You know, if it comes down to it on the game card, if it comes down to where there's a 20, like either the number 20 or 22 or 23 or 26 that just barely came up as well, maybe I'll consider one of those numbers because it's either red or orange. Strategy number 2, pick from group 1. Okay, so here in group 1, I have 15 option cards, and what I try to do is try to predict which one of these colors won't be coming up. So I'm going to go with option card number 10 in the blue section. Okay, so I'm going to predict that all these numbers in blue won't be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. So as you can see, the pattern is 4, 10, 18, 28. The same pattern for all 4 squares. So as I go to the game card, I've already eliminated off the game card here. So I got that, and I got all the 40s taken off from the individual numbers. So this is what the game card looks like so far. Strategy number 3, Group 2 Overview. Okay, so here in Group 2, well, Group 2 is a lot like Group 1. Okay, so here's Group 1 again. You can see it's broken up into 4 different groups of numbers. And in Group 2, I got them broken up into 8 different groups of numbers. Okay, so Group 2 is more of the bread and butter of things because, again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and I got 8 groups of numbers here. So I know that there's going to be at least 3 misses here, or 3 zeros. Okay, so down here is where I keep the stats of things. So as the Powerball drawing happens, this 0 means that none of the 5 white winning Powerballs landed in that gray area. And the 2 means, of course, that 2 of the winning Powerballs landed in the gray area. So here in Group 2, again, I want you to look at this red area, okay? And down here, where it says red, I keep the stats for all the red area. So I got red, blue, orange, and green, and so on. So again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look alike. Okay, so again, down here I keep the stats. That all kinds of looks alike here with the red, blue, orange, green there. But you could tell that every red group is a little bit different from the other one. Okay, so this is what I mean by the Group 2 overview. Okay, so I want to see how the group is as a whole. Okay, so the magic number is 8 here out of 15. So if there's 8 or more misses, I color it blue. Okay, if there's 8 or more hits, then I color it red, meaning that it's hot. Okay, blue meaning that it's cold. So what I try to do is predict what's going to be red and what's going to be blue. Okay, so for this drawing, I think the brown area is going to be red. Okay, so I think that there's going to be a lot of hits there. Okay, and over here, I think the red area is going to be blue. Okay, so I know that kind of sounds kind of funny, but I think that there's going to be a lot of misses in those red areas here. Okay, so this is what I mean by the Group 2 overview. Strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from Group 2. Okay, so I have 4 ways to help me make a decision on what color group I either want to eliminate from the game card or what color group I think numbers will come up on the game card. Okay, so the first thing I have to help me make a decision is how many groups did the winning 5 Powerballs land into. Okay, so I have 8 groups here. Okay, so I like to keep track again of how many groups did I hit. So over here, everything gets read from left to right, just like you're reading a book. Okay, and here, the last one is 3. Okay, so I hit 3 groups. So I'll point those out for you. So you got 0, 0. Okay, here's 1. Here's a 3, but that's in just one group. And here's one over here for the 3rd group. Okay, so the second thing I have to help me make a decision is the color code over here. Okay, so green means that the majority of the 5 numbers landed in this right area. And of course, red means that the majority of the 5 numbers landed in this left area. Okay, and the third thing that helps me make a decision is the red and blue in the groups here. Okay, so I keep track of every 5 drawings. Okay, so that way I can have a majority of things. Okay, so as you can see, there was 4 hits in this in the 5 drawings. So the majority was hot. Okay, so I color it red for hot. And down here you can see that there was 4 misses. Okay, so the majority was misses, so I color it blue for cold. Okay, so here's the thing about the Powerball and being so random. Okay, I count on that randomness now. Okay, so nothing can be all red all the time and nothing can be all blue all the time because that wouldn't be random. Okay, so when you have a nice long run like this of red, I know eventually it's going to be blue. Okay, so the fourth thing I have to help me make a decision is I have a different view of this group too. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to look at the history of things and try to predict what's going to come up from the history of it. Okay, so in this line right here, you can see all these hits. Okay, in this red option card number 1. Okay, so what I did is the second view looks like this. So you can see all these hits in this option card number 1. Okay, so it just looks a little bit different. It's easier for me to see. Now I just have red and blue to choose from. Okay, so now it's like a 50-50 guess, kind of like heads and tails. Either it's going to be red or it's going to be blue. All right, so that's the thing. And again, I have 15 option cards. Okay, I have 8 groups of colors. Okay, so yeah, add those up and it comes out to 120 different options that you have. Okay, and it just kind of works out that usually it's right around the same of either it comes up 60 blue hits or 60 red hits, okay? Maybe a little variation of that, you know, it could be like 58 to 62 or something like that. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's always plenty of either red or blue to choose from, okay? Out of all 120 option cards, I like to pick about 3 or 4, okay? Because the more you pick, the odds are going to go way, way up that you're going to get something wrong, okay? So the less you pick, the better, of course, you know? So with this red number 1, I thought there was going to be a lot of misses in red, is what I said in the Group 2 overview. And this is the first one that I'm going to take, okay? So there's 10 hits in a row, so I just think that it's going to miss, and I hope that it does. Okay, so that means I go to the original Group 2, okay? So I'm back here at Group 2, and again, I'm going to eliminate this red area off of the game card. So I go to the game card, and I already eliminated it off for myself here. Okay, so again, hopefully none of the 5 white winning Powerballs will land in that area. Okay, next I'm going to take 14 orange. You can see the long streak here. Okay, this is 11 hits in a row, and I hope that this one misses. Okay, so 14 orange looks like this. 4, 20, 16, 32, 33, 49, 45, 61. So again, I already eliminated it off the game card to save time, but this is what the game card looks like so far. So hopefully all the blocked out numbers, hopefully none of the 5 winning Powerballs land in those areas. Okay, so the next one I'm going to take is orange number 11, okay? And the reason why is you can see this really long red streak here, okay? And I have a miss, a hit, a miss, a hit, a miss, a hit, a miss, okay? So I really like that kind of pattern where it's like, you know, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, where all the other signs are a bunch of hits or a bunch of misses, okay? So it's kind of like a pattern that's just ready to go one way or the other, okay? So I think it's going to be a miss, and I think that this is going to be blue down here as well, so I think there's going to be a lot of misses in a row here for this orange 11. Okay, so here's orange 11. Again, this is 66, 16, 67, 27, 33, 41, 54, and 62. Okay, again with the 66, that shares the square with the 8, and the 67 shares the square with the 19, so those will get eliminated as well. Okay, I eliminated those off of the game card, and that's as many as I dare to take off. So now I'm going to go to the next strategy and pick from Group 2. Strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will hit from Group 2. Okay, so in the Group 2 overview, I thought there was going to be a lot of hits in the brown area. So here's the first one I'm going to take. Again, this is all cold, 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 so eventually it's going to turn hot, so I think it's going to start now. So I'm going to take a hit on brown number 1. Okay, so here's the brown area right here, okay? So I'm going to go to the game card and see what's left on the game card. Okay, so I got the 6, the 30, and the 38 in that brown area. So I'm going to put those numbers over here to help me remember which ones I'm taking. Okay, so hopefully one of the winning Powerballs will be one of those numbers, or hopefully even all 3 of them. Okay, so next I'm going to take brown number 8 to hit. Okay, and then I'm going to take brown number 10 to hit. Okay, so first is brown number 8. You can see it's 2, 11, 18, 28, and the same pattern down here. Okay, and then there's brown 10, and you can see the pattern here. Okay. Okay, so next I'm going to go with number 4 purple. Okay, and you can see that it had a bunch of misses here. Okay, in a row, so I think it's going to be a hit. And as things go, it had a miss, and 5 misses. Okay, so that's 7 misses in a row for this number 4 purple. So I just think that it's due to hit. Okay, so here's number 4 purple. You can see the purple areas. I'm hoping not one of the 5 winning Powerballs will land in that area. So what's left is the 2, 3, the 37, 38, 39, and I put all those right over here. Okay, I'm also going to take this number 9 gray to hit. Okay, so as you can see, looking down through the pattern of things, you can see that there's only one single blue here. Okay, the rest have all kind of grouped together. So like over here, you can see that there's a single blue, single blue, single blue, single blue. Over here, single blue, single blue. I mean, they seem to be all over the place except for this one. Okay, so I'm going to predict that this is going to be another single blue in this area right here. Okay, so for the gray area, gray number 9, you can see it's a 10, 67, the 7, the 30, the 42, the 51, and the 39, and the 62. So we'll see what's left on the game card here. Okay, so I wrote them over here. It's the 7, 30, 39, and 51 that's still available. Okay, and the last two I'm going to pick to hit is yellow 13 and yellow 14. And you can see the patterns on both of those. Okay, so here's those yellow areas from 13 and 14 yellow. Okay, so I'm going to go to the game card, and whatever is left in here, I will write down. And hopefully one of the winning Powerballs will land in those areas. So the one over here was 11 and 37. And the other one was 5, 6, 7, 13, 34, and 35. And I wrote all those over here. Strategy number 6, pick from group 3. Okay, so here in group 3, I'm going to predict that there's going to be more odds than evens. I'm going to predict that there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers. I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers to the right side than to the left side. And I also predict that there's going to be more numbers to the blue area than the red area. Strategy number 7, game card color code. Okay, so with the game card color code, I'm going to predict that there's no green that's going to come up. I did this the last drawing and got burned because 2 green ones came up, but I just think that it's going to miss here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 greens in a row, and I just think that it's due to miss. Number 8, pick my numbers. Okay, so again, I wanted more odd numbers than even numbers. I wanted more numbers to the high side than the low side. I wanted more numbers to the right side than the left side. And I wanted more numbers to the blue area than the red area. Okay, so the numbers I'm going to go with this week is 11 purple, 15 orange, 34 purple, 38 blue, and 51 red. Okay, folks, I'm always looking for people to play my system. Instead of charging a fee to play, I like to charge a commission for using my system. 1% if you get all 5 white balls correct. You can read the fine print on that. If you're interested, please email me at trm6776@gmail.com. Alright folks, I appreciate you watching, and best of luck with your picks.